Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you feeling today? Are you good? I hope you're good. So today's video, I'm going to talk about a question that I usually get, and that is about study abroad and what program did I use and what programs are out there. So if you want to see what I have to say, please keep watching. Okay, so if you're thinking about studying abroad, you know that there are so many different ways to go about doing so, and sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming. Now, fortunately for me, I went through my university, so everything that my university had to offer is what I was looking into. So I didn't really have to go and look on any like outside sources or do any Googling or anything like that. I just went through my university's exchange center. Because I had been a host family prior, I knew about some direct exchange programs with schools in Japan, primarily Kansai Gaidai. So I guess my first bit of advice to you is when you're trying to study abroad, and if you are in university, find out about the center that your school has. Usually it's like the international program or the Office of International Cooperation, or it's usually a name that involves international, and then ask them what study abroad programs do they offer. That's usually the best way to go about studying abroad, is to go directly through your school. Now, if you're in high school and you're watching this, there are some high schools that have exchange programs as well, or there are some high schools that have programs that allow you to study abroad for maybe like 2 weeks. They have the short-term programs, so maybe not something as long as an academic year or an academic semester, but they have things that allow you to go for a summer or 2 weeks or things like that. So now after that, you want to decide where you're looking at studying abroad, which area you're looking at studying abroad. Me, I always knew I wanted to go to Asia. And from previous videos, you guys know, if you've been watching me, that I was kind of bent on Japan in the beginning, but my school kind of encouraged me to go to Korea, and I love them. I love them for that decision because it was the best decision I've made in my whole entire life. So if you want to do Europe, then narrow it down. If you want to do Africa, then narrow it down. If you want to do Central America, then narrow it down. If you want to do Asia, then narrow it down. Something like that. But if you have something really specific in mind, like you know for a fact you want to go to New Zealand or you want to go to Australia, then you can look for programs that are geared towards those places. But if you don't really mind where you're going, but you just have a general area that you'd like to be, then that makes it easier to pick schools. So I did go through an exchange program in my school. What that meant is that I took somebody else's place. Now, every school has their logistics and how they work, but my school, the way it worked is that, let's say if I go for a semester and then somebody else can come for a semester. However, it needs to kind of add up the amount of people going and the amount of people coming, if that makes sense. For example, let's say 6 people want to go to Kansai Gaidai in Japan, but Kansai Gaidai wants to send only 1 person from there to your school in America. Your school can't send all 6 people, even if that's where you want it, or even if they have an exchange program, they just can't send all 6 because then it's not going to balance up, because somebody has to pay the cost of tuition there in order for you to come here. You know what I mean? That's where the logistics come into play, but that's usually dependent on each school. Like I was saying, I went through an exchange program, a direct exchange, and the way it worked at my school was that I went, and in me going, 2 people were able to come. That's just the way that my school and my school in America and my school in Korea had worked out their arrangement. So that's how I was able to go, and I paid my tuition here and they paid their tuition there, and we just traded places. So the only thing I had to worry about was pocket money over there. I didn't have to worry about any expenses or anything like that because it was covered when I paid over here. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a school exchange program, then sometimes there's also language programs in another school. I know my school has it for people who want to study English. They can come from other countries to study it. And then when I was in Korea, the school I was over there also had it that people who were studying Korean could study Korean over there. So if you're somebody who's not trying to do a direct exchange program and you want to study the language of that country, then there are also programs like that where you would apply to the language school of that school, if that makes sense, or the language department of that school, and then you would study there as a language student. So there's another way to study abroad. If you're interested in studying the language of the country, you can do the language school study abroad programs, and that allows you to experience another country and learn the language at the same time. Now, if you can't get through the school at all, if you can't go through a school, it's not that easy for you to go directly through a school. There are some programs, there are some scholarships that allow individuals from one country to study in another country. They're usually government run or even if they're not government run, they're funded by some kind of private company or something like that. No, those you have to do research on. There are the more popular ones like the Critical Language Scholarship. So there are programs like that. You just need to do some research. Another way to find out about study abroad programs, and I kind of touched upon this in the last comment, is if you have a country in mind, like specifically, let's say you want to go to Japan. If you go to your embassy's website, not your embassy, if you go to the Japanese embassy website, there are a lot of links on how to study in Japan. A lot. Look at the country you want to go to, look at their embassy website, or go directly to the embassy if you can. If you're like me and you live close to the embassy, you can just go pay them a visit and ask them about things like that. So that's another way if you're interested in studying abroad. I don't know much, but I do know some study abroad third-party programs that I can go ahead and link down below that help students to study abroad in other parts of the world. I hope be able to help somebody there, but like I said, I went through my school a direct exchange program, so my school did do most of the work for me. But I will leave below every information that I know on how to study abroad and different programs and things of that nature, and hopefully it'll help somebody out. So that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please leave them down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching. Jeanette.